Hello and welcome to Consumer Behavior. I'm Dr. Kristy Grayson, and today we are going to take on the difficult but interesting topic of motivation and consumerism, and basically how that relates to emotions. So we're going to talk about motivation and how we as human beings deal with emotions, whether they're elating or they're devastating or somewhere in between. We want to connect how those emotions impact the choices that we make as consumers. We're also going to look at how we can shape emotions to evoke particular behaviors in consumers in an ethical manner. And then let's delve into consumer emotions and how they're expressed in different ways, and how we can, as marketers, measure emotions, because we know they are such an important part of our ability to reach the goals we're looking for. So we start with motivation. What makes us do what we want to do? Motivation are those internal reasons or driving forces behind what actions we take as human beings and how we go about addressing the needs that we have. So I'm going to start out with Maslow. Those of you out there in the marketing and sociology world understand that Maslow's hierarchy of needs is one of the foundational elements of motivation. And basically, you can think of Maslow as a pyramid. So at the very bottom, or the first step, is we need to fulfill our basic needs as people to drive our decisions. And basic needs are those things such as, do I have food? Do I have clothing? A place to live? Shelter? Safety? Without these foundational needs met, we cannot move further up the hierarchy of needs. After we have those foundational needs met, then we look at our psychological needs, the emotional needs that we're talking about today, belongingness and love, self-esteem, self-image. So that is sort of the middle stages. So as you move up further and further up the pyramid, then you can get to the top where life starts to be good. You have your serious needs met, and what you're doing now is you're thinking about what is my self-fulfillment? How do I reach the place that I want to be in life? And that is what we call self-actualization. So how do we spin this psychological model into consumerism? Well, we sort of have to look at needs and wants. So as a person, as a human being, you figured out now that Maslow is a triangle. You start off with your basic needs. And so let's say, okay, I'm Kristy, I'm thirsty. I've been doing videos all day long, or maybe I went for a hike. I'm thirsty. How am I going to satisfy that need? Well, I know that theoretically I need water to survive. I need shoes on my feet to make it through my hike. But I would prefer or want a Coke Zero to quench my thirst, or maybe a pair of Nike shoes. So you can see here that although I am fulfilling my needs at the very lower levels, the basic needs, I wanted something other than the basics to fulfill them. Now, safety and security, I like to be at home and secure and feel like I'm not going to have any strangers come to my door ever. Don't like it when people knock on my door and try to sell stuff. I feel insecure when they do that. So think about it this way. My need for safety and security is I just need to have that feeling, a sense of security. However, I want people in my community to help me with that. I want a police force. If somebody comes to the door or trespasses, I want to be able to call 911. What if there's a fire? The smoke alarms are great, but I need people to help me with that. So I want a sense of security, or I need a sense of security, but I want certain other things. Now, in terms of love and belonging, having a sense of being with people or belonging is amazing, and it's a foundational need that we all have. But some people, maybe someday, if I'm a lucky girl, I'm going to find that forever guy, and perhaps have a partner for life, or be married, or have that companion to spend the rest of my life with. I don't need those things to fulfill a sense of love and belonging, but I want those things. Now, in terms of self-esteem, I can be confident and have a level of achievement in my job, in my roles as a professor, as a consultant, as a business owner, and, make ends meet and feel good about myself. But maybe I want something different. Maybe I want to graduate from college or graduate school, or becoming a doctor. Those are things that help my self-esteem. Maybe instead of having the Chevy, I would prefer a Mercedes. So you take those needs, and then you have wants, which is really about the consumerism piece. And what about when you made it, right? When you get to be my age, you have a lot of things in life that you've already accomplished. And I've been a very fortunate person to be able to overcome some obstacles. But, I'm at a point in life where I just want to be actualized. I want to do what I love. I quit a 30-year marketing career to become a professor to teach, because that's what fulfills me. So there's a need and there's a want, and that's how I want you to look at this in terms of consumer behavior. We have basic needs, and the more they're met, the higher up we get to our self-actualized self, but there's wants that we want to fulfill those needs. So if we start with, we all have the basic food, shelter, clothing. If we get to like the middle level of Maslow and we start to have that love and belonging, how do we translate that into consumerism? Well, belonging is very much, we want to be involved and we want to be engaged. So as a marketer, you can design your products and services, your promotions, your communications with your loyalty programs to involve customers, to have that sense of belonging, to have that sense of engagement, and maybe fulfill some higher actual needs, such as, Bombas, the sock company. Everybody needs socks, right? That's a lower level on the hierarchy. You need socks to keep your feet warm if you live in a cold climate. But maybe what I want is to have a feeling of self-actualization by giving back. So if I support Bombas, if I buy a pair of socks, they give a pair of socks to somebody who needs them. So that's a way to involve and engage your customers. And it also provides you a sense of value. There's also engagement in terms of branding. We can do this through purchasing. Maybe I engage you as a restaurant or as a service agency, and I'm going to do something special for you on your birthday or on your anniversary as being a customer. So although you're still purchasing, or there's an exchange there is a sense of belonging. Like somebody believes in me, somebody engages with me. There is a lot of this that goes on in social media, and in some great companies who engage with their customer to the point where customers have their generate their own content for you on behalf of you to show engagement in their brand. So if you think about, the differences between the lower level needs and the higher level needs, we can bring that back to motivations of consumer value. So there's utilitarian value and there's hedonic value. So if you remember the differences, utilitarian helps you accomplish something. I get a razor to shave my face or my legs, if I'm a lady, if I'm a guy, or whatever. You're using that to accomplish something. However, there's emotional or hedonic types of motivations as well that helps you gratify something through an experience or that higher level. It's not just getting the job done. It's about feeling good about that. So let's take this example here. I have a puffer coat, one that was from Walmart at $39.99 and one from Montclair that's $17.65. There might be some slight quality differences in each of the coats. If you look at them from afar, you may not be able to see that much of a difference. However, the utilitarian motivation might be, I need the coat to keep warm. I'm solving that lower level need. Whereas the hedonic, the emotionally gratifying coat is, I'm going to wear the puffer jacket and feel good because guess what? I have made it. I have a high self-esteem or a high sense of self because I have the Montclair. And I am going to spend a gazillion dollars on that, a ridiculously expensive amount, to satisfy an emotional need. Now, when you think about the consumer behavior process and how emotions are really used to create value, we have a model here that we know that we've learned before that consumer sensation leads to perception, and perception leads to an effect. Do you like it? Don't you like it? You have a feeling about that particular perception. And it really comes through emotions, which is, anger, sadness, happiness, or mood, which is a little less severe as emotions, but puts you in some sort of frame of mind. And those are the things we're focusing on now. So once you have that effect, then you have an experience based on that. Your experience is, am I fulfilling those emotions? How do I feel about that? And then I can say, all right, well, there is some sort of value associated with that. I'm getting the job done through having a razor to shave my legs or a coat to keep warm. Or, you know what? I want to look good in my dress, so I'm going to, shave my legs for that reason, or have some sort of emotional attachment to the jacket that's going to make me feel good in front of my friends. So let's talk about emotion. Emotion is basically those inner reasons or driving forces behind human actions that drive consumers to address their real needs. So again, an emotion, it's the driving force on why you do things. So emotions, if I were to explain it to you in a definition form and how it relates to value, emotion is a combination of psychobiological human appraisal. By that combination, I mean there's the head psychological piece, and there's the gut feel, the physical piece. So if you're going into a situation, let's say you want to go into a store and buy something really nice for a date that you're going to go on, or a dinner you're going to have with somebody that you really like a lot, or maybe your partner. And so there's the psychological piece that says, I want to get the perfect outfit. I want to feel so good about myself that the other person will resonate with that as well. And then as you go into the store and you start poking around and you get, oh, look at that beautiful little black cocktail dress, or maybe look at that amazing suit jacket. I want to impress my date. I want to impress my partner or my significant other. And then you look at the price tag and you're like, ugh. There's a sense of anxiety. So emotions are psychobiological. They have both the feeling and the thinking involved. And a visceral response is that feeling that hits you directly when you're taking in, when you're hit with some sort of behavioral reaction. So I have an ad here. I had a visceral reaction to this ad. This is Mother's Day. Get back to the job that really matters. A Mr. Clean ad. So does that mean that my most important job as being a mother is cleaning? Well, I will tell you that I have failed over and over again in that department because I haven't been a working mom. I'm a career mom. I love my children. I've always given my children time and energy and the motherly love that they need. But cleaning was not my first priority. It was probably the last. So when you have a reaction to something like that, that coincides with a behavioral reaction, I'm never going to use Mr. Clean again because they think my most important role in life is cleaning out the tub. Forget it. I'm done. So that's what a visceral reaction is. So we try to marry as promoters a visceral reaction that will have the right outcome. Not having me boycott Mr. Clean because they think that's my most important job. So there is a theory in consumer behavior called the cognitive appraisal theory, and it helps you kind of put these emotions into different categories. So the first one is anticipation and appraisal. So have you ever gone someplace where you know you're anticipating something? Maybe you go, when you're a little kid, you're going into Chuck E. Cheese and you had this anticipation of, I'm going to have so much fun and I'm going to play games and have pizza and be with my friends and family. There's a hopefulness there. We call that the anticipation appraisal. It could also be like me, I do not like to shop for cars. It is not my favorite thing. I do not like salespeople in auto dealers. I'm really sorry if you're one of them, but from my experience, it hasn't been good. So when I have to shop for a car, I anticipate that it's not going to be a good experience. So as consumer behavioralists, as promotions people, as product developers, how can we convince or use through emotion a way to help mitigate or enhance this anticipation appraisal? The second is agency. So it is your responsibility for a particular event. So you cognitively think, is this right? Is it wrong? Sort of like my dressing up for the date kind of thing. You think about the consequences before your action. So I have a donut here because I am a lady who likes donuts. And I know that I cannot have a donut every day. If I am lucky, I will have a donut once a month. And I will cognitively think about every time I go into the grocery store and I see the beautiful donuts or I drive by the pink box, I'm like, I want a donut so bad. I'm hungry, but I don't need a donut. So I do that mental gymnastics about the consequences. So that's an agency appraisal. Then we have equity. Now, equity really is about fair and just. When we talk about ethics, equity is emotions like warmth or anger. So if you think about whether things are fair and just, I immediately think about the airline industry and how when I used to travel a lot, I often got upgraded to first class. I had, I was able to go into the Sky Miles lounge and never have to worry about leg room and things like that. And then when I stopped working at the corporate level, and I went into academia, I realized really quickly that I got a problem with those rewards programs. I worked just as hard, if not harder, than I did when I was a corporate executive, and now I'm in the back of the plane. One time I had a couple of students sitting in first class when I was going back to Minneapolis to visit family, and I was in the back of the plane, and I had this problem with the concept of equity in the rewards program for the airline that I chose to be with, because no longer was I the platinum member and could be in first class all the time. I had to be with the regular people. Crazy, huh? So that would be equity and appraisal. And then finally, the outcome. You consider long term, how did that outcome relate to your goals? So are you happy? Are you sad? I have the whole situation of waiting in line for something. So I'm going to be honest with you. I do not like to shop. Who knows why I'm a marketing consultant, why I've been in marketing my entire career, and a professor who teaches this stuff. I do not like to wait in line. I do not like to shop because I have a fear of waiting in line. And I know if I see a long line, sometimes I'll just put the basket down and head on out. Go somewhere else where I don't have to wait in line. So if I do wait in line for my donut or, my small items of groceries, when I'm done and it goes quickly, I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad. This is a great store. Look there's all kinds of options to check out on your own. So these are the 4 different ways that we can sort of categorize how we package and message things based on specific types of emotions. So that is the cognitive appraisal theory. Now we have emotions. I talked about the reactions that you have. Well, you probably have heard, if you've done any work in promotions, advertising appeals. So there are several appeals that we can use as communicators to evoke an emotion that we want to be able to drive the behavior of consumers. It could be, dang, I'm mad at you. Go do something. Like we saw in the PSA, I didn't really talk about it, but about climate change, fear of missing out, fear of, getting sick, all of those different things. Humor is always a good, fun, positive one. Warmth, safety, desire, and compassion, and there are many others. So it is proven that if you can evoke the right emotion to the right target audience at the right time, you are going to be far more successful in your communication strategy. Now, mood is a little bit lighter than emotion. Mood is just sort of less intense, less visceral. We're often not conscious of the mood we're in. We do know that if you are in a positive mood, it enhances learning. That's why you will see a lot of humor and different sort of positive messages, likability, things like that are used in communications. It also helps us improve our recall and remembering something that we saw that we enjoyed. Maybe you saw an advertisement or promotion on social media and you went into a store or you went on Amazon, you saw it and you had, this good feeling about it. So shopping often alleviates loneliness for a number of different reasons because we're playing with your emotions in so many ways. So there's a sense of belongingness to that. So how do we influence this? You're going to see this not just in brick and mortar spaces. You'll see this in the music that we use when we promote on social media. We're doing reels or stories with backgrounds. If you're doing even a commercial of some sort on a streaming service, on television, radio, etc., music is a way that can trigger a calming sensation. It can be sort of like the hipster sensation. I don't know if when you were young like me and you went into the store called Hollister, man, you could hear that music in the mall a mile away. They're trying to stimulate a purchase. Sometimes we will use music in seasonal, holiday music when you walk into Target and you see and you smell and you hear the music. It provides you a mood, and remember that the more senses that we touch and the more emotional it becomes, the more likely you are to buy something. Color is a big mood enhancer, and I spend a lot of time working on this with my students, with entrepreneurs, with larger companies, on basic things such as your logo sends a message about the personality of your company and the mood it sets based on psychology and how we as consumers react to various colors. So know that if you're going into a Target, it's going to be very bold, etc. If you're going to buy groceries at Whole Foods, you're going to have more of a green sort of experience where it's more organic, etc. Blue is around trust and conservatism, and you're going to see a lot of that in financial services, Big Blue, IBM, lots of blue banks and investment firms. Purple is a little bit more creative, etc. So we have to be very conscious of the colors that we use in our brand identities, and also if we want people to behave in a certain way. Scent. Scent, again, is another one of those emotions that we can trigger through these senses. And if you've ever gone into some stores and there's a distinct smell, it's often piped in. There's a distinct smell when you go to the dentist office. It's not always a good one, but you'll remember that experience based on the scent. So it's used to promote seasonal items, cinnamon, pine, you'll smell that, sweetness during, certain religious holidays, etc. So mood is really important when you're establishing a brand to help your consumers understand who you are and have a sense of belongingness with them. So one of the things that we often do as marketers when we're trying to create that brand experience is to create a mood board of what we want to create. We can hand that mood board over to a creative agency, or you can do it yourself, but we want to make sure that the mood that we're sending is appropriate to the message that we want to reach our target audiences. We can also measure emotion. There's eye tracking devices. I have a copy here. I'm not going to play it for you for a lack of time, but basically what it does is there's a tracker on the computer. So when you're watching an ad, the eye tracker can actually tell your emotions based on where they are within the ad, what you're looking at, what those feelings are, and that helps us track. There's also a number of different, unfortunately, if you're into the Big Brother stuff, if you go to some particular stores, retail environments, they have cameras that will actually look at your eyes and your facial expressions, and they can tell what your mood is or your emotion and serve you up an ad based on what that day looks like to you. So emotions can be measured, and with facial recognition software, it's kind of a scary thing, but it is the world we live in. So one of the things that I want to do right now, and forgive me if this is a little long video, but I want you to take note of your emotions as I show you some impressions. And how do you measure your emotion? I want you to think about, as I show you each of these ads, what is your response? Because this is how you are going to learn based on your target audience, what resonates with them, how they're feeling, etc. So you can become a better communicator. So let's look at number one. If your wrapping looks like this, you may want to get a gift card. Keep calm and meet on. Happy heart shapes in your Cheerios. Share a little sunshine. This Father's Day, capture every moment. safety and respect for all. Protect like a mother. (1988 to 2000 something). Armani. Not a lot of words here, just an image. Sexy Rexy wanted to join the trend too. Which door would you choose? Hashtag like a girl. So I can guarantee at least one of those advertisement created some sort of emotion for you. And I want you to think about that emotional response and how learning the tools and understanding how different people relate to different messages and images and scents and smells and timing can influence your marketing strategy. So as always, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me, Dr. Kristy Grayson. You can reach out via Canvas if you're in my class. Send me an email on my university email address. Follow me on Instagram. Check me out on LinkedIn. It's been a pleasure describing to you the importance of motivation, what makes us tick as consumers, and how emotions play into that. Take care, everyone.